Hello. My name is Pengeran Muhammad Farid Zulusni bin Pengeran Aziz. I'm the lead cybersecurity awareness trainer in Brussels. So I hold several professional certification, including security awareness professional from SANS, certified information security awareness manager, Security Plus, certified ethical hacker, Cisco certified network associate, Microsoft certified technology specialist, and regularly attends conferences in IT security summits to keep up to date with the latest threat and trends in IT security. So I have many years of experience in teaching and have given numerous talks on information security, basically to government, both private and public sector, educational institution, including higher institution, secondary, primary, and among the Bruneian public as part of our vision to educate Bruneians on what threats and dangers are out there in the age of IT and the internet. So I'm not alone today. With me today, our facilitator, we have Ms. Izwana, Ms. Katie, Ms. Nomi, and Ms. Ida with me today. So due to the due to the time limitation for today's presentation, our facilitators will assist you with the Q&A by answering your question during the webinar. So you can type your question from the Q&A button at the bottom or top of your screen. So of course, we also have a Q&A towards the end of the session, and I will try my best to answer some of the questions. And inshallah, we will stay around for an extra 5 or 8 minutes to answer any additional question live. Okay, so moving on, a short introduction of Cybersecurity Brunei. So His Majesty consented to the establishment of Cybersecurity Brunei as the National Cybersecurity Agency for Brunei Darussalam, which began operation on 1st August 2020. CSB offered 3 core services, which is BRUSET, NDFL or National Digital Forensic Laboratory, and CWC or Cyberwatch Center. So CSB operates under the Ministry of Transport and Info Communication, or in short MTIC, with the Minister of MTIC itself as a Ministry of in charge of cybersecurity. So one of our interests is to increase public awareness of cyber threats happening nowadays. So for more information, you can visit us at www.csb.gov.bn. Okay, cyber criminals use many types of malicious software or malware to carry out attacks. So malware is any code that can be used to steal data, bypass access control, or can cause harm or compromise the system. So before we start the topic, first, we will discuss on what is the type of cybersecurity threats. Okay, so there are mainly 3 most common types of malware. So the first one is the viruses. So what is a viruses? A viruses or a computer virus is a type of computer program that when executed, it replicates and attaches itself to others, such as a legitimate program by inserting its own code into it. So some viruses are harmless, yet others can be destructive, such as those that can modify or even delete your data. Okay. So most viruses require end user interaction. So that's the keyword of viruses, user interaction to initiate activation and can be written to act on specific date or time. Viruses can be spread through either removable devices or media such as a USB, a flash drive, internet downloads, or even using from the email attachments. So the simple act of opening a file or executing a specific program can trigger a virus. So once a virus is activated, it will usually infect other programs on the computer or other computer on the networks. So a good example of virus is the Malaysia virus that was released, I think, back in 1999 and spread via email, affecting tens of thousands of users and causing an estimated of 1.2 billion in damage. Okay. So next, we move on to worms. Worm is a malicious software program that replicates by independently exploiting vulnerabilities in networks. So it's unlike a virus, which require a host program to run. Worms can run by themselves. So this is something special about the worms, that's the unique things about worms. So other than the initial infection of the host, they do not require user participation and can spread very quickly over the network, usually slowing it down. And then worms share similar patterns. Example, they can exploit system vulnerabilities. They have a way to propagate themselves, and they all have a contain malicious code, or in technical terms, they call it payload, to cause damage to computer system or even to the networks. So worms are responsible for some of the most devastating attacks on the internet. So if I remember, in 2001, there's a worm called a cod red worm, which infected over 300,000 servers in just 19 hours. Okay, so next, Trojan horse. Trojan horse is a malware that carries out malicious operation by masking its true intent. So it might appear legitimate, but it is in fact very dangerous, very, very dangerous. Huh? So Trojan exploit the privilege of the user who runs them. So unlike the virus and worms, Trojan do not self-replicate, but often bind themselves to non-executable files such as macam gambar, audio, video, acting as a decoy to harm the system of unsuspecting users. So usually it terms of advertisement like you have Microsoft Office free to download and so on. So actually it embed Trojan horse dalam software tu. So next is just an additional information on how cyber criminals carry out attacks other than malware. So it's called logic bombs. So a logic bomb is a malicious program that waits for a trigger. Macam contohnya a date, specified date, or database entry to set off the malicious code. So until the trigger even happens, the logic bomb will remain inactivated. But once it's activated, a logic bomb implements a malicious code that can cause harm to a computer in a various way. So it can sabotage database record, erase file, and even attack operating system or application. So cybersecurity researchers have recently discovered that logic bomb that attacks and destroy the hardware components in a device or server, masanya, so including the cooling fans, CPU or central processing unit, even your memory, hard drive, and power supplies. So the scariest part about logic bomb it overdraft this component until they overheat or fail. Okay, so this is something unique about the logic bombs. And ransomware. So ransomware is also a type of malware that is designed to hold a computer system or the data it contains captive until a payment is made. So ransomware usually works by encrypting your data so that your data cannot access, so that you cannot access to it. So according to ransomware claims, once the ransomware is paid, okay, via an untraceable payment, usually in terms of Bitcoin payment and kalau ransomware, the cybercriminal will supply a program that decrypts the files or send an unclocked code. But in reality, many victims do not gain to their data even they have paid. They even demand for more payments. Okay, so some version of ransomware can take advantage of specific system vulnerabilities to lock it down. And then ransomware is often spread through phishing emails that encourage you to download the malicious attachment or through a software vulnerabilities. Okay, so sekiranya if you fall into victim of ransomware, okay, as much as possible, we don't advise user to pay the ransomware. The best way to mitigate this ransomware is basically to have a periodic backup of your system or information. Okay, let's jump to the main topic for today, cybersecurity essential. Okay, so to eliminate the threats of cybersecurity, as we discussed earlier, there is a reason why cybersecurity checklist exists, which aims to strengthen all forms of cybersecurity. So we will cover a few approaches on how to secure devices, online accounts, securing your networks, and even the importance of awareness and communication in cybersecurity. So we will also be sharing the checklist of suggestions to help reduce your to help reduce your risk of a data breach. So it's not a comprehensive, certainly other items could be added. So any macam sort of like a reference for you guys. So however, user probably aren't doing all of the things they should. So it's likely you'll find something here to improve along the line. So we will start with securing your devices. So first, enable your firewall. Okay. So what is a firewall? A firewall is a software-based. It could be a hardware-based platform, but from a personal point of view, it's a software-based which runs on a device to restrict incoming and outgoing network activity for the devices. So it can allow or deny traffic between the device and the network. So the software firewall inspects and filters data packets to protect the device from being infected. Okay, so it will stop the traffic line going and outgoing. So Windows Firewall, okay, is installed by default during a Windows installation. So this is an example of a software firewall. Okay, I think you can go through the other settings and you can find a Windows firewall setting around Windows. So you can control the type of data sent to and from the device by opening or blocking the ports. And then firewall block incoming and outgoing network connection unless exceptions are defined to open and close to the port. So you can select inbound rules to configure type of traffic that allowed to pass through the system. So this can protect the system from unwanted traffic. Okay? So that's the first one, enable firewall. So the second one is to install and update antivirus software. So an antivirus or anti-malware software is a host-based solution software application that runs on a local device or an endpoint to protect it. So software antivirus ini works with the operating system to help prevent attacks from malware. Okay, macam tadi that we discussed, viruses, worm, Trojan horse, or even keyloggers, spyware, and adware. So they invade privacy, steal information, which can damage the system or even delete and corrupted your data. So it is very, very important to protect device using reputable antivirus or anti-malware software. Okay. So on top of that, have you heard of terms called zero days attacks? So a 0 days attacks or 0 days threats exploits software vulnerabilities before they become known or before they are disclosed by the software vendor. So a network is extremely vulnerable to attacks between the time an exploit is discovered and the time it takes for the software vendor to develop and release a patch that could fix or trigger the exploit. So defending against such as fast-moving attacks require network security professional to adopt a more sophisticated and holistic view of any network architecture. Okay? So this is something that we need to look into when it comes to protecting your device and zero days attacks. And then watch out for rough antivirus products. So be cautious of malicious rough antivirus products that appears while browsing the internet. Most of the displays advertisement or pop-up that look like an actual Windows warning. Okay? They want the malware is infecting the computer and prompt the user to clean it, but they do not come from legitimate sources, and clicking anywhere inside the window may download and install a malware instead. Okay? So something that you need to aware. So next is set up access code such as a passcode or pattern. So this is related to physical security later. So to prevent others get access to your mobile devices, or could be your mobile or laptops and so on, you can set a lock screen PIN. It's either 4-digit or 6-digit. Okay. Also, you can enable biometrics, including facial, voice, and fingerprint unlocking. And then another option is using a pattern lock, since it could be difficult for others to guess your pattern. So by enabling this feature will help your personal accounts stay private and secure. Imagine kalau you lose your phone, so basically if you don't have this in place, okay, everyone could instantly access to your personal information. They can access to your personal picture, social media account, or even worse, they can access to your banking application, okay, make a transaction and so on. So another situation is anyone around could grab your devices and do whatever they want. Maybe installing spying apps, okay, which will authorize payment transaction on your behalf. Okay, so this is something possible if you don't protect your device with the device security features and so on. And then next is to keep your operating system, application, and software up to date. So the operating system plays a critical role in maintaining the security of a network, and is the target of many attacks. So usually cybercriminal domain attacks is usually the operating system. So cybercriminal work relentlessly to exploit weakness in computer system, and then to stay one step ahead, keep system secure and up to date regularly by installing software patches. So what is a software patch? Patch are code updates that prevent a new virus, worm, or other malware from making a successful attack. So patch and upgrades are often combined into they call it a service pack. So many malware attacks have been avoided if user had installed the latest service pack. So operating systems such as Windows routinely check for updates that can protect a system from the latest security threats. So this may include security updates, critical updates, as well as service pack. So Windows can be configured to automatically download and install any high priority updates or to notify the user as they become available. Okay. So you can find this feature under a setting control panel from a Windows operating system. Same goes to the other platform as well. Okay, so next, it is very important to backup your device. As you mentioned today, ransomware attacks have caused many organizations to lose critical or sensitive data. Okay, so high probability could be targeted to individual as well. So while preventive measures are the best solution for ransomware, once the attack has already occurred, okay, so the best chance to recover the data is to maintain regular data backups. Yes, please make sure to create regular backups of your data because malware such as ransomware can destroy it. So question is kadang-kadang kena tanya is how regular that we need to backup the data. Okay, so we suggest this depends on how critical or sensitive your information. Example, if your information is critical, okay, or sensitive, we will suggest to have a daily backup. Okay. And then also to make sure to backup your data offline. So when using an external drive for your backup, make sure to disconnect the drive after the backup has completed. Okay, just to make sure that the data is safe from malware, mainly on the ransomware attacks. Because some situation, a user punya laptop dia connected to a hard drive and then dia backup. So over the time, the computer itu affected by ransomware. So ransomware ini actually affected dia punya hard drive saja juga at the same time. So it's pointless that dia backup to the other drive lah. So please make sure you disconnect the drive after the backup has completed. Okay, so next is to avoid counterfeit software or application. Okay, so be wary of the things that you download online, especially if you are using a P2P application software, which is masanya the current trend is using a torrent. So back in the time, during my time we're using LimeWire and so on, Napster dan sebagainya. So now the trend is using a torrent application to download P2P ataupun a software from a third-party application or platform. So please make sure to only install application software from trusted sources or legitimate website. Okay, and then official sources. And then for smartphone, you can either download the application either from App Store or Google Play. Jangan dari third-party application. And of course, avoid third-party platform. Usually, why? Because majority, not all, maybe majority of the application yang hosted third party itu usually contains malware. Okay, sorry. The next one is ignore spam and unwanted notification. And the last one is the best practice is to shut it down and when it's not used. So example, if in a situation, okay, if your PC is affected with malware, please make sure you disconnect your computer from the internet and unplug all devices such as USB stick or external hard disk as soon as possible. So this way you can stop the malware from infecting everything else, including your cloud storage and so on. Okay, next we will discuss on best practice for securing your online accounts. Okay. So for online accounts, include your social media accounts, and some of the points might be related to the email account as well. So number one, please keep your profile private. And then click review privacy setting. So you also may want to review the privacy setting of different social media provider. Okay, so basically different social media provider will provide different sort of like privacy setting. So as you know that photos and content uploaded to the social media platform are not always secure. They can be downloaded or for identity theft. improper circulation or other unethical activities. Okay? Kena viralkan dan sebagainya. So therefore, it is vital to learn and understand how to use the privacy feature, okay, that social media site offer. Okay, sort of like macam to make your account private and so on. So bear in mind that social media platform has its own setting, and some are more complicated than others. Okay? So you may need a time to spend to review the privacy setting of each social media provider. So by controlling your privacy setting, you can make those choices about what you can get shared, where, and sama siapa. Basically, you can limit those information that can be accessible. Next, filter your followers and friends, and then use a complex password or passphrase. So for password and passphrase, you can view our recorded webinar, our previous webinar discussing on password and passphrase in case you miss it. So you can find from our Brunei Cert YouTube channel. So dalam webinar itu we'll be discussing more on password or passphrase. And then set up a two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication as a multi-layered added security. I think this feature you can find around macam WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and so on. Okay. So example, if someone yang unauthorized access to your account, okay, basically you require sort of like a layered, multi-layered added security, asking for PIN and so on. Okay. So they can come with the two types usually. It's either software-based or hardware-based. So example of hardware-based is using a physical token or a personal devices. Okay, kalau ke bank, they will provide a physical token Okay, so that's example of a hardware-based. And then while software-based is using a software such as macam Google Authenticator, which are mostly installed inside your smartphone, which is accessible untuk Android, iPhone dan sebagainya. So both have the same goal, okay, to authenticate or verify a user identity for a login or other transaction. So next, do not overshare your personal information, okay, your address, hari jadi, nombor telefon, dan sebagainya. Okay. In a situation, kalau you need to, share your information macam nombor telefon, please make sure you use the feature DM, private message, or messenger, unless you have a separate phone for online for business and so on. Okay. So next, block and report unwanted contacts. Okay. Kalau ada spam message or scam email, scam message, scam emails, scam calls you receive, so please make sure you block and report to relevant department. So in this case, you can report to Brussels as well, So I'll be sharing sekarang the reporting punya procedure or steps that you can report to Brussels. And then of course to ignore spam message on your inbox. Okay, kalau ada email stating that you have win $1 million, $1,000, okay, so usually it's a scam lah tu, jangan tadi click and reply or even reply or giving information to them. Okay. So I hope everyone is clear on tips how to secure online accounts and securing devices. Okay. So next, we will discuss on best practice for securing networks, include your home networks. So number one, avoid public Wi-Fi. Okay. People usually ask, kenapa it's free jadinya? Why not we use it? Okay. Yes, it's free, tapi there are risks of being attacked. Okay, if you're using a public Wi-Fi, such as theft of personal information, man in the middle attack, packet sniffing, eavesdropping, or even malware distribution, okay, and many more. So cyber criminals also can bullet redirect a user to a phishing websites where you might give away your personal information. Okay, so we don't stop user from using public Wi-Fi, but please make sure you be careful apabila menggunakan Wi-Fi public Wi-Fi, especially when you're submitting your personal information. So, because it could land somewhere other than to a proper website, it might land to a cyber criminal punya websites and so on. Okay, so next, use a strong password for your router. Okay, so when it comes to router, usually there are two passwords that are related. So yang pertama is the wireless LAN ataupun SSID password. Okay. Macam you need to configure a password when someone trying to access your networks. Okay. So in this case, never leave your router open, which means no password. So please make sure the setting like WAPA, WPA, or WAPA2 or WAPA3 and so on. And then password yang kedua is a router password. Okay. So usually the router will configure with the default username and password from the factory. Okay. So macam example, macam default username, macam admin, username admin, password admin, or username root, password root, dan sebagainya. So this is something that as a template usually comes with from the factory punya setting. So please make sure to change your default router password immediately once you purchase the router. Basically to mitigate the attacks to your networks. And then the next one is to strengthen your Wi-Fi encryption. Okay, so what is encryption? Encryption is actually a tool to protect your data. So encryption use a complicated algorithm to transform data to make it unreadable. So a special key returns the unreadable information back to readable data. So this is something that running on the background as well. So use a strong password for your router using the latest encryption WPA or WPA3. So, kalau boleh jangan pakai WEPA because WEPA itu it's crackable within a short period of time. So apa bezanya WPA3 sama WPA2? Okay. So WPA3 provides more secure connection compared to WPA2. Okay. Okay, so next, use a VPN for additional network security. Okay. So what is a VPN? Okay. So VPN ini sebenarnya assist user to secure internet traffic. Okay. The software ini bukannya available for your laptop saja, it is also available for your mobile phone devices and so on. Basically to protect your devices punya connectivity from your point to your server punya point and vice versa. So looking for a proper VPN, we'll be sharing a few tips later on. So the first one, make sure it is downloaded from a legitimate website or app store. Okay. Please make sure your VPN is well known and reputable. Do not install something that unique ataupun ganjil also And then have an ethic usually to membaca macam the review and then to verify your punya ratings. Okay. Kalau ratingnya 0 bila tu, something that you need to be skeptical kalau kamu download. And then update the software VPN frequently if it's available. Okay, and then the next one is always to keep your router firmware up to date. Okay, use a firewall to protect the device on your network if possible. Okay. Sometimes router pun ada built-in firewall software based. And then consider changing your router IP address or any default configuration from the factory. Okay, macam in this case, as you can see, it's most of the TP-Link punya default, IP is 192.168.1.1. So you might need to change the default routing configuration. And last but not least, okay, turn off your Bluetooth when it's not used. Okay, I believe majority of the devices pun masa ni masih lagi ada built-in Bluetooth and jarang kena gunakan, tapi they leave it open and make it vulnerable to cyber attacks or cyber criminals. Okay, last but not least, awareness and communication. So awareness and communication play an important role in cybersecurity. So think before you post. Always think before you post by not uploading an appropriate material or even confidential information and so on. So before you post something cuba ask yourself. For example, would this post offend someone, or does it matter to me if it does? So if your answer is yes, you probably shouldn't post those kind of content and always use your social media to spread positivity. Okay, and then keep yourself updated with the latest online trends and threats. Okay, it relates to the third point, educate everyone around you regarding online threats. So probably later, maybe after a webinar ataupun besok, there will be a new malware developed. Okay, so it is really important for us as a user to know how we can protect our computer and network from being attacked from time to time. Okay, and last but not least, it's manage your password properly. Okay, so the best practice is to change it 3 bulan sekali or 6 bulan sekali. Okay, so for more information on cyber threats, risk, privacy online, online safety, and many more, you can visit us at www.secureverifyconnect.info. So Security Verify Connect ini sebenarnya an initiative by Boosted aim at increasing the awareness of internet safety and information security among the Bruneian public. Okay, so you can even download digital calendar 2022 from our website for free. So the last but not least topic for today, what can you report to Boosted? Okay, so there are many issues related to cyber incident where you can report to us. So the first one ini macam infected computer, okay, macam malware such as virus, worm, trojan yang accidentally installed to your computer. The second one is malicious website. Okay, so a website attempted to install malware or gain access to your computer, or even macam your website to kind of compromise, you can even report to Boosted. And then hack email account. Okay, when someone unauthorized access to your email account, usually after clicks on a phishing link and so on, you can also report this to Boosted. And then phishing activities. So what is phishing? Phishing is an attempt to trick a user into revealing private information such as your password, credit card number, usually by sending an email ataupun even worse, social media, okay, macam WhatsApp, claiming to be from a reputable company. Okay. And then the next one is business email compromise, or in short BEC. So a BEC is an email scam targeting companies' names usually by spoofing the email account of high-level employees to convince the victim to transfer funds or reveal confidential information. And last but not least is ada lagi next slide. Social media related to unwanted contact, hack account, online impersonation, scams, or even sextortion juga, macam cyberbully juga, or other issue related to your online privacy and security. Okay, cyberbullying juga consists of online harassment, abusive or threatening comments or impersonation. You can report to any Boosted. And then website defacement. So a website defacement is actually an attack on a website by changing appearance or content of the website that one. So in short term, we call it usually macam website kena hack lah. And last but not least is denial of services, which is a malicious attack making a website temporarily unavailable by overwhelming its resources. Okay. So for more information, or in case cybersecurity incident happen to you or your organization, okay, you can email us at reporting@boosted.org.bn, or sekiranya pemalu ke apa kan email suka bercakap, you can give us a call on our hotline at 245-8001, which operates 24/7, maksudnya 24 jam lah tu. And then also WhatsApp us at 717-0766. Okay, so please make sure you're reporting to Boosted on related to cybersecurity dan sebagainya. So sekiranya your computer nak mau di-on, your printer rusak, nak mau di-paint, I think that in that case you will need to approach other company, organization ataupun kadai lah tu. And usually it's related to cybersecurity. Okay, so alhamdulillah we come to the end of the presentation today.